is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, closet swing traders? Hope you guys are doing fantastic. We got some news that came in terms of job numbers. A little bit different numbers than ADP gave us yesterday, causing a little bit of back and forth in the market today. So far, we are looking kind of choppy, a little bit to the downside. We'll get into that. But they say there's no guarantees in the market, but we do. We do have some guarantees. We got every single day. The squadron is in the house. Good morning to Albert, Alex, Amy, Bill, Brian. We got Brian Reppel. Good morning. Cindy K. Good morning. Eric, Craig G. Gerline J. Kaylin. Good morning. We got Lucian, Mr. LW himself. Martina. Good morning. We got Remco, Richard, Jet. I feel like that last name, Jet, is a strong name. We got Rick GJ now. Wally is in the house. Good morning to you. My squadron on YouTube. Good morning. We got Craig, Kevin W, Daniel. We got Anna. Good morning. Michael. Good morning. Woo! The squadron is out today. Let's see if the market wants to be our friends today or not. I will say last 2 days at least, straight battling the market. At least for me, I don't know. Every time we get into a stock, I feel like we've played it pretty well. We are still positive for the month, which is fantastic considering that market's only been open 2 days. Let's see if we keep some gains and keep that train rolling a little bit and just stacking some wood. I said this on Tuesday, not Tuesday because we were closed, Wednesday. Maybe it was even Friday, maybe before the month started. I think when we kind of going through I think it was probably Friday. I was like, I can see a little bit of just kind of chop slowing down. We've had a good run into the market. Realistically, last 2-3 months, small little pullback. There's a pretty obvious double top in the market. There is this kind of island reversal so far in the market. Unless we get some crazy bullish run today, I don't know that fills, and then that's going to be a little bit more solidified. We are technically solidified from yesterday as we did not come back. We did not retest it, and it is blatantly there. So can this be a spot? Yeah, absolutely. This could be a spot where we start to maybe pull back. Real question now is how far do we pull back? And we talked about this before too. The first time the bond yield started to curve was July, or invert, was back in July of last year. Historically, not that you could say anything historically is is happening in this market, but at least prior to this year and going back in history, that's usually an early indicator of a recession, and it's usually about 12 to 18 months early, which makes July a very, very interesting month. I don't want to go all bear camp yet, but it's just good to know that be cautious. Be very, very cautious. Market could do anything. I think we still have a lot of money on the sidelines, which I think it makes it very interesting. But the job numbers today, kind of the opposite of what ADP gave us. ADP said payroll's been growing. We got more people on payroll, so that's more jobs. The ones that came out today from the government, from the Fed, they're saying, no, we are actually losing jobs. Mixed signals, right? Mixed signals. One would help Fed Jerome Powell. So that would tell me if we are losing jobs, maybe we do have just one rate hike, and that's already kind of priced into the market. And then we have a pause, and after the probably more extended pause than people would think, then we start to reverse, and maybe sometime early January, March of next year, we start to actually get some reversals in the market. Or is the ADP more correct, and then we probably at least have two more, or we start going into panic mode? So we'll see what happens, but inflation is not at the target 2% yet. And we'll see. But we do have some signs. If you are a bear, you could be a little bit giddy today because there's some signs in this market. So right now, And I have this key number on my chart, 438.91. Again, it's just a number that I drew out forever ago, and so far the levels, it doesn't have to be to the exact number, but the levels are pretty good as far as where we've just been kind of bouncing and hanging out. And now we are opening below this. Yesterday was, even though we've had these last 2 days are green days, we still woke up in those mornings with some bearish sentiment. This was a gap and go 2 days ago, and it just got bought up. This was a gap and go, technically, from a green candle. We had some selling. We got a strong rally to the end of the day, and we are just pretty much smack in the middle of this, but below some key numbers. Again, this is the first day we're opening below the 10. Yesterday, we didn't even open below the 10. So could be a little bit of a potential weakness, but I do expect a little bit of chop today in the market as well. So I'm not saying that definitely all bearish, definitely all bullish. I think we will have to battle a little bit today, which is unfortunate. I'd like a nice, easy win. I would love to start July off with a nice, easy win. We stack some real solid gains, and then we can play around a little bit. But we got to go with what the market wants to give us. To the downside, so this is a level that we've tested yesterday, pretty much to the penny of what we were looking for yesterday. So we had somewhere in the 437.33 zone. Turned out to be a beautiful bounce spot. The problem is today we've already retested that number. So could we get saved? That number is going to be a little bit weaker now. And if we do start to sell off, I think the next target is probably about 436.37, where we get some kind of potential close, or at least look for the bounce spot, depending on how quickly we get there. Ron's in the house. Good morning. Good morning, Ron. All the way from Florida. But yeah, so that would be my first spot. Maybe we get double bottom, we could rally. So watch that zone again if we do start to sell. And then again, it is a little bit weaker today because this is the second attempt to break through it. So let's see if we can get down to probably this 436.27 is on the watch list, and we'll see again just kind of where we go from there. By the way, if you have if you have any long-term positions, if you have some accounts that are probably mainly bullish, you've done fairly well. I mean, I would say most likely you're probably positive, especially if you consistently purchased every single month on the way down. You're probably up 30-40% on the account, right? If you got a little scared and held off a little bit, you're still probably positive from before we went to the dip. So do you have to sit on the account and just let it drop? If it does, and we do pull back, no. You could get some puts. You don't have to be, hey, I need to make life-changing money on the puts, because I don't know that this market does break down yet. But I do have some puts out on the table. I picked up yesterday just in case. I'll probably still hold those, I think. And I'm using them for insurance on the account. I'm not looking to gain it because I don't have clear signals yet. Once I start to get more of a clear signal, that's when I'll start gaming it to the downside. But for right now, I'm looking for protection to the downside. So we'll see. And then again, it's not, even if we rally from here, who cares? The longer term will outpace those puts. But just keep in mind, every day in the market or every setup in the market is not does not have to be an all-in opportunity. We'll take a look at the Qs, and then if you guys have stocks you want to take a look at, throw them into the chat, whether you're on the All Access Pass chat or the YouTube chat. Thomas says, good morning. How does Target look? We'll take a look at TGT in 1 second. Qs, still inside day. I think we're down a little bit more on the SPY than we are the Qs at this point. Still kind of holding this one little VPOC level. If we slip and we start to drop below 366.88, we will have some decent room on the Qs. I think this is an area that we were looking at for yesterday as well, 364.78. So we got a beautiful bounce there. Again, that one has been retested, so we could look for double bottom. It's a little bit weaker, has a little bit more potential to break through. And if that's the case, probably about 363.56. To the higher side, if we are able to open and hold this zone and throughout the day we don't slip past that 366.88, To the bullish side, we could get back up to a 369.75. It won't be unheard of. So we'll see what happens on the Qs. But I not only do you have like kind of a resting period in the market, but then you have job numbers, 2 different days, 2 different outcomes, throwing more confusion into the way of the market. And again, the market, it doesn't matter if the numbers are bad or good. The market likes consistency. they like to know, okay, if I put my money into the market, how shaky is it going to be? So let's take a look at TGT, since that's the one that came in first. So I think, I don't know, did they seem to have some news. Let's see what the news is. I know Levi, I think, had earnings, which is why I was thinking this one was down, but let's see if there was news on this one. Today's the 7th. Yep. Okay. Stock market had outstanding first half, yada yada yada. Some specific issues, for instance, after 4 consecutive quarters of falling crude prices, energy stocks hitting 52-week lows. Other stocks such as Anheuser-Busch and Target have suffered from cultural issues. Okay. So yeah, so that's not really breaking news for today. I think you're gapping down. Probably a lot of retail is from Levi. We'll go back to Target in a second, but Levi reported earnings. That one shows that it beat on earnings per share, but missed on revenue by only 433,000. But Levi is at a little bit of a bouncing spot. So again, this one's earnings definitely gap and go on this one. This is a pretty interesting gap and go, even though we're at support. So I want to trade Levi. What's interesting on this one, and again, we'll go back to Target, but I think we're gapping down probably in a lot of retail because of Levi. But you do have all of those bulls trapped besides these ones. So we had a straight shot up, and they don't have any chance whatsoever to get out at this point. This gap and go might actually be a little bit more bearish, even though we're at this support. We are trapping a lot of people. I'm going to add Levi to the list. And I think how Levi trades will be giving some sentiment throughout the day to anything retail, but Target included. So let's go back to TGT real quick. TGT. So Target still looks a little bit to the weak side. We are below all moving averages. We do have a significant resistance at probably 132.09. So that was a previous support. We do have a ton of VPOCs in this zone as well. Yesterday, it looks like we opened up here. We retested into it. We failed it, and we probably get continuation to the downside. Looks like we had a little bounce off that VPOC yesterday. That one's sitting somewhere at 130.21. So pre-market slightly above it at this point. But again, we already hit that yesterday, and it looks like probably continuation. So if we do get, again, I'd probably like a green candle, something that I could take a breakdown on. But then next target becomes 128.83. So I could see a little bit more continuation, especially if the entire sector itself is going to be under a little bit of pressure today. So let's get TGT up there on the list. We'll watch that one too for some kind of early morning, maybe green candle. See if we could hold, and we might get the green candle on this one because we are at a little bit of support. So if we could break that support, great. But it does look like we ran into resistance yesterday. We already tried that. That wasn't good enough for the bulls, and probably play continuation today. Rig Nova JWN Beyond Das Meats. Take a look at Rig real quick. Rig has had some decent breakout candles. We do have to watch the zone 753. We've been here before. We've lived in this area before, and we moved out quickly. So we'll see what happens here. But you are approaching a little bit of strong resistance in the zone for a morning gap at least. Nothing too crazy, just inside day, inside high wave candle. We did have a little bit of a retest gap yesterday, and we did retest. We came down after that retest. We rejected. I would think if this one could get past 730, let's call it 735, then I think, and I know you're playing this one for, see if we get continuation on the short squeeze. If we can get above this 735, I think it's worth a shot. But keep in mind, you do still have probably targets into, I don't know, 761, something into that zone. And then if we could break that 761, I think we got to like a $9 level at one point. Not for a while. Yeah. I thought we were closer to 9 at one point. But yeah, we're getting back up there. I might start to look to sell some covered calls. I do have some shares. I sold some covered calls here, sold some here. And I will probably be looking to sell a couple more if we do get a little bit of a rally today as well. So we'll see what happens there. Nova. Denova. Sunnova Energy. Right now it's no gap whatsoever. Sentiment in this one looks like a pretty big breakdown candle. I wouldn't be surprised if we start to rally a little bit and then we break down again. Let's draw a quick fib on this one too. I don't know how accurate that is at the bottom. I can't see the bottom of that wick. All right, so you're holding that 50% retracement. More of enough reason for, I think, this to come in. So we get some kind of a bounce into probably the 1764 zone. And then I think that happens. You're still making lower highs, lower lows. This does look good. So I do think this zone is somewhere that bulls would like to come in. But that was a hefty way to get there. That was a full straight elevator. That's you stepping into the elevator. The elevator's not there. You just fall straight down the shaft. That's what that looks like to me. So I think there's probably some people trapped hoping that this was your line in the sand that you could kind of hang in. This almost looks a little bit even head and shoulders a little bit. But I think this happens. I think if you're trying to go long on this one, the lower you get it, probably that 618 would bode for a better entry on that one. So we'll see. But I think sentiment's a little bit weak. Probably we will get some kind of rally out of the gate on that one. JWN. Nordstrom. Nordstrom's holding a decent level in terms of support. So a little different than Target, a little different than Levi. This one is still holding. It's got some key support on this thing. You also have key resistance probably up at 1972. So if you do want to play this one to the long side, I'd want to see at least this candle break. So I would swing trade this one 1986 by 1895. But pretty clear double top on this one too. Looks a lot like the SPY, to be honest, and probably will move kind of like the SPY. Let me see. Was there one more? Beyond Meat. That's an interesting looking inside hammer. You do have a little element of double top. So I don't know how this wave count's going to look. Is this the ABC of or the 4-5 off of this downtrend? That I don't know. But if this is the 1, this is the 2. If I call this a 3 because so far this is the longest wave, this is the 4, this is the 5. Some kind of consolidation in here gets rejected, and then maybe longer term we bounce. If that wave count is correct. If I am wrong on that, and I'm only basing that off this so far is the longest wave, that's all I got to go with. So I'm calling this a 3. But if this is an ABC, which could be, and this is your 1, this is your 2, this is going to be your 3, you could have a very nice trade on Beyond Meat. Probably trying to take a, you have to watch the break of this candle though. course, the market doesn't make it easy. So what I was going to say is if you take the break of this candle and your stop is somewhere down here, you could look decent. I think if you take the break of this candle, you could also very much be coming into a trap zone because you still have this VPOC slightly above it. So I'd almost want to take a break of that VPOC as opposed to the candle. You're going to have one more spot over here. Again, that was already retested, this one. So that is more likely to break if we get some more momentum into Beyond Meat. But I do I kind of like the setup. I think it might be worth a try just in case this is actually the one and we are starting a 3. Then you could have a very nice move. So Beyond Meat, again, for day trade purpose, I don't know how much I want to put weight on a day trade yet. I mean, you could try. There's always going to be setups everywhere, but it's not doing any kind of gap. We're not trapping anybody. So it's probably at open, probably a little bit of a chop down, bounce around. Actually, a decent trade. If you're going to go with the camp that this is 1 and this is about to be 3, I would actually put an order out here. If you're okay risking an R one way or the other, I would throw my entry somewhere in the zone of 1345. My stop, regardless, is going to be down here, right? Somewhere around 1275, 1280, somewhere in that zone. But now you have a better risk to reward. Even getting to the top of this, you're probably at an R already. And then if you get that break, you're sitting very, very good. That's probably how I'd want to play that one. Just because I don't know what's going to happen at some of those levels. Technically, we are making lower highs as well. So if you're okay risking the R, that might not be a bad setup. All right, let's see what else we got. Costco has a nice gap and go. Oh, gap down. Sometimes I'll read things and just make up words. Yeah, you do have a little bit of a 3-bar reversal. Decent volume on the bear side on the way down. Worst target, at least, I think we could get into probably 532.56. And then if that breaks, that would be decent. I would think that this one wants to come back and get retested before we break. So if we were to redraw this, let's do this. If we were to redraw this candle, these 3 candles out. We opened here. We closed here. And we had price action here. I would actually love to see a retest into here. That would be a great spot to attempt a short if you're going to try this. Have your stop somewhere up there. That would be more swing trade basis, but you do have a decent gap down. Again, you still have the 10 EMA coming in on you too. See if we get I think this one probably actually fades higher before we go lower. So just having this as some kind of support, and then we are kind of close to our first little target area. If we could get a bounce, the closer you can get to this probably close of yesterday, 537.37. If this thing does want to bounce, and I don't think it's going to be probably end of the world for Costco, but probably about a 50% retracement somewhere into this 528 zone would be very interesting to see. Man, I got 5 minutes. That's crazy. Time flies. All right. Now at the bottom of my chart is actually TTM squeeze. Baba, yep. So some of the Chinese names, that would be one to look at. I believe China is lifting some of the penalties that they have on some of the I don't even know what it's called, but they're tariffing their own companies, I guess. I don't know. But they are lifting some of the restrictions on some of the Chinese companies. So watch all Chinese companies today. They do have good sentiment across the board. Valuation, again, if you're not concerned about China invading Taiwan, these are not all, but mostly a lot of good buy spots for some Asian companies. Baba is one of them. I've been buying some Baba, and I will continue to buy Baba. mainly because the valuation is good on the actual business of the company. If China invades Taiwan, I'm going to be down. I'm not going to lose. I'm not selling it. It's for the long term anyway. My plan would be to buy more average down if China does invade Taiwan. So I cannot look at this any other differently than say I'm getting a great price on a pretty decent company, pretty solid company that if any fear of China invading Taiwan gets off the table and we get some political peace, if that's even a real thing, I don't know if it exists, but we were at the 618. We got some kind of a bounce today on some news. We are at a little bit of resistance. Probably will fade. Probably will come down for a retest first. I think this dip is very buyable. So I will be keeping BABA on the list. I'm going to move this one up to see if I can get a good spot. But let's see if we get some red candles in there first. A little bit of profit taking. It has happened the last few times we've had a gap up. And again, BABA and a lot of Chinese names, they do gap up frequently because they're actually being traded on the Hong Kong market. So by the time we wake up, we already see some kind of aftermath to it. So you do get frequent gaps. However, I do like BABA even just for valuation purpose and trading. Yeah, I think we probably sell a little bit at open. I would be looking for a buy. Chris says, what indicator? Yep. Thoughts on ET pattern? ET to stock? Energy transfer? You definitely building some pressure for one way or the other. You've been in this consolidation station for a few minutes now. Multiply that by billions. So few million minutes times a billion. You've been in this thing for a while. I don't know which way this thing breaks. You guys did point out the indicator at the bottom of the screen. So let's take a look at that one. Right now, we do have momentum actually coming into a bullish direction. So will that actually help us? I don't know, but we have made higher lows. This is the first time we actually made a little lower low. We do have a double top. I would say if ET could break 1286, you have a good shot of probably breaking out, but even this is higher. It's lower highs too. So I don't know when this thing wants to break out and which way. Right now it would be bullish, but again, we've been sitting in this thing for a while now. So day trade wise, again, not too crazy. We do have a resistance right here above us. This would be probably a spot if you like energy transfer, look into the actual company, the fundamentals, see what you think the valuation would be, what it's worth actually paying. We've had over time a decent little uptrend in this thing. So I think that continues. And if you can get this break, you've got a lot of consolidation. You probably get one of those type moves if you break northbound. So you can get a couple dollars on this if it actually breaks out. And history tells me that it's been over the longer haul, been moving up positive. But unfortunately, we only got 35 seconds left. So I do have to disconnect. Make sure you guys check out reallifetrading.com. If you, by the way, if you are on YouTube and you have not hit the like button, I don't know why. I don't know why you hit the like button. Hit the like button. Also, you can subscribe. Check out reallifetrading.com. We do have the beginner, intermediate, advanced courses. Tons of free education for you guys as well. We are in the All Access Pass each and every day from 9 a.m. when you guys join us to 6 p.m. at night. We cover a lot of the market. We cover a lot of classes during the day. And then we also have the swing trade room as well. So you guys are incredible. Have a great day in the market. Have a great weekend.